Switzerland's railway is famous around the world. People call it the gold standard of public transport. Clean trains, mountain views, and a schedule so tight you could set your watch by it. But behind that perfect reputation, Swiss commuters have a very different story to tell. Today we are digging into the biggest problems facing the Swiss railway right now. From packed trains to rising prices to a system that might be a victim of its own success. Let's find out what's really going on beneath the surface. On paper, these numbers look incredible. A 94% punctuality rate would be a dream for almost any other country. But when your entire culture is built around trains running like clockwork, even a 6% failure rate feels like a crisis. That's the core tension we are exploring today. Switzerland's rail success has become its own worst enemy. Because the trains are so reliable and so affordable relative to driving, more and more people choose to ride them. And the network is running out of room. On popular routes like Zurich to Bern or Geneva to Lausanne, peak hour trains are frequently standing room only, with passengers packed into vestibules and stairwells. The problem is structural. Switzerland's famous clock face timetable, where trains leave at the same minute every hour, leaves very little slack to simply add more trains. Every additional service has to fit into an already dense grid of connections, so instead of running more trains, operators mostly just make existing ones longer. But platforms have a maximum length too, and many are already at their limit. Swiss railway may be precise, but the moment the train crosses the border, that precision can fall apart. International connections from Germany, in particular, have been a persistent headache. Trains from Stuttgart and other German cities have suffered from construction work, aging infrastructure, and congestion on the German side. And those delays spill directly into this Swiss network. It got so bad that SBB actually severed two long-distance connections with Germany in 2025, cutting the EC7 and EC9 services short at Basel, which is the border town, so that late German trains wouldn't drag down punctuality on the Swiss side. Passengers now have to change trains at the border, a small inconvenience for travelers, but a big signal of just how seriously Switzerland guards its reputation for reliability. Here is a strange twist. Switzerland's obsession with system-wide punctuality can actually make things worse for individual passengers. The SBB uses something called an isolation strategy. If a single train is running significantly late, instead of letting it push through and disrupt the rest of the timetable, staff will stop it at a station and hold it for the next scheduled slot, sometimes 20 to 30 minutes later. It's a clever way to protect the network's overall punctuality statistics. But if you happen to be the person on that isolated train, your short delay just became a long one. The system optimizes for the average commuter's data point, not necessarily for you. Switzerland is famous for having some of the highest rail fares in Europe. A general abonnement travel card, the all-you-can-ride annual pass, costs thousands of francs a year. Even short regional trips can feel expensive compared to neighboring countries. Supporters argue you get what you pay for: dense coverage, frequent trains, and near mountaintop reliability. Critics argue that a public service this essential shouldn't require a small fortune. The high price also raises a fairness question. Switzerland is an expensive country generally, but rail fares have risen faster than many households' budgets, and there's an ongoing political debate about whether ticket prices should be frozen or subsidized further to keep the trains accessible to everyone. Much of the Swiss network was built decades ago, and keeping it running at the peak performance requires constant, expensive maintenance, especially through the Alps, where tunnels and viaducts take a beating from weather and heavy freight traffic. On top of that, SBB has openly admitted to a shortage of qualified staff and aging rolling stock, both of which have been blamed for missed punctuality targets on freight and some passenger lines. The Gotthard axis, one of the busiest freight and passenger corridors in Europe, is a particular pressure point. Any disruption there ripples across the entire north-south European rail network, not just Switzerland. So what's being done? SBB is investing heavily in longer trains, new double-decker fleets, and targeted capacity upgrades on the busiest corridors. There is also serious discussion about expanding the network itself rather than just running longer trains on the same tracks. None of these fixes are quick though. Major rail infrastructure projects in Switzerland typically take a decade or more from planning to completion. None of this means the Swiss railway is falling apart. It's still one of the most reliable, dense, and well-run networks in the world. And most of these problems would be considered luxury issues almost anywhere else. But that's exactly what makes them worth talking about. When your baseline is this high, even small cracks stand out, and the pressures to stay perfect creates trade-offs that most other countries never have to think about. So which of these problems do you think is the biggest one? Overcrowding, the border chaos, or the price tag? Let me know in the comments, and if you've actually ridden the Swiss rail network, tell us if it lived up to the hype. Smash that subscribe button for more rail deep dives, and I'll see you in the next station. Bye!